What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about it. On this channel, I talk about my own personal experience from courtroom corruption, police brutality, and more. I've got nothing to gain to mislead or lie to the public. In fact, everything I've ever said on my channel is the truth. And to provide even more evidence, I add as much evidence to my videos as possible because I got nothing to hide. In fact, the people that I'm talking about, they got everything, to lose. So they're trying to silence me. And I just want to share my life and all these events I'm going through and, these broken systems. Don't do these videos to bash anybody. I just want to share these events in my life and my experiences and share my insight with others. And in this video, I'm going to dive into do filing complaints with LECA work? Short answer, like most complaint agencies in Ontario, they don't work. I could wrap this video up in less than 2 minutes and just tell you guys straight up. In the 2024-2025 LECA annual report, there was, I believe, there was 3,700 complaints screened in and screened out, but total it seems to be 6,200. And 6,200 complaints were filed in the 2024-2025, and basically they got them down. They got them down to only 49 were sustained. Okay, out of 6,200, and out of those 49 complaints that were sustained, 41 of them were deemed less serious, and only six complaints were deemed serious. So right there, I could stop this video right now in 2 minutes and tell you guys right now, filing complaints with LECA do not work. But I'm going to dive into this video. It's going to be very detailed. I've gone through their annual report, and to be honest, they make it very confusing. 51 pages, 23 of them are all mixed up numbers, screened in, screened out. Sustained, unsustained. I'm spinning in circles, so you guys should go read that report for yourselves and get familiar with it if you're interested. But filing complaints with LECA do not work, and I actually filed 3 complaints with 3 officers that engaged in serious misconduct, that refused to do their duty. And it's like, why are us taxpayers forced to pay these public servants hundreds of thousands of dollars? Sometimes near the $300,000 mark, okay, when they're going to conduct themselves this way. And you got LECA, who pulled about $7.7 million from taxpayers, 52 employees, just to burn through 62 complaints and dismiss them. The system doesn't work. It's a waste of taxpayers' money, if you ask me. So we're going to dive into this video. This video is going to be about, do filing complaints with LECA work? Do filing complaints with LECA work? LECA is the law enforcement complaints agency against the police. And I'm going to try to do this video a little bit shorter than most of my videos, but can't miss out any crucial details. Do filing complaints with LECA work? I filed 3 complaints against officers whom I dealt with and I believe engaged in police misconduct or negligence of their duty. Sergeant Leslie Legace of the Aurelia OPP Detachment, Sergeant Linda Chamberlain of the Waterloo Region Police, and Constable Tyrone Gardner of the Halton Region Police. So let me say this right now, he was the worst out of all of them. Dealing with this officer, I can't believe he's employed. And we're going to get all the details with this officer. So yeah, we got Sammy here, guys. Sammy's going to be joining us for this video. Okay? Yeah, he's chilling. So, Sergeant Leslie Legace witnessed another officer assault me. He did not do anything. He didn't say anything about the assaults I endured. He also left me in a holding cell for almost an hour and a half and offered zero medical attention when he said to me, "We did not do this to you," when after I requested for medical attention. And this is a sergeant, mind you, of the OPP, the Aurelia OPP. Sergeant Linda Chamberlain refused to investigate a fraudulent home insurance, reaching almost $10,000 in damages that I was accused of doing, that I did not do, um, that Travelers Insurance paid out. And I'll be diving into another video, how about how Travelers Insurance funded indirectly Canada's most corrupted family court case in Canadian history. And you guys aren't going to believe that. I reached out to the CEO. I got pulled in by investigators to talk to. I got the audio recording. I don't mind sharing that. But that was an absolute joke dealing with Travelers Insurance. They're very well aware of this home insurance fraud. And so was this sergeant, Linda Chamberlain. Linda Chamberlain refused to investigate. She told her constables not to investigate and very arrogantly told me to file a complaint with LECA. And so did Tyrone Gardner, too, very arrogantly, because they know they just are LECA's in their back pocket. When you guys hear these numbers, it's a song and dance that they seem to play very well. Constable Tyrone Garner, who goes by Ty, refused to assist me with dealing with John David Ekping. You guys know the lawyer who sent me those psychotic emails, those 20 psychotic, unhinged, threatening, stalking, harassing emails. Yeah, this officer was fully aware of it. This was criminal harassment, threatening, filing fraudulent court documents, stalking, refused to enforce the criminal act, and he was straight up lazy and useless. He absolutely was lazy and useless, that officer. He left me hanging for 2 months. While he went off work on a back injury. He pulled a herniated disc, but he was seen on his Instagram account, his business account, running a skating business. So is that not insurance fraud? More, I understand it's on a broken back, but hey, you might not want to be filming yourself skating around, and he got snarky with me too. And hey, had this officer did his job, which was apply the criminal act, do his duty. He didn't. This officer was absolutely useless, and he was the worst out of all of them. And he's the reason why all Halton Region police should be wearing body cam. The way he was talking to me, and yeah. So basically, I dealt with these 3 officers, and they straight up engaged in misconduct. They were negligent of their duty. Um, Filing complaints with LECA, in my opinion, do not work. And if you just look at their 2024, 2025 annual report, you'll see they don't work. Their annual report consists of 51 pages of confusing complaint info, 23 pages of broken down, unsustained complaints, which just are so confusing. Again, unlike any other complaint service, the Canadian Judicial Council, at least they didn't waste any time, and they went straight up in half of a page and said, yeah, we received 1,230 complaints and we dismissed them all and only gave 3 warnings. Maybe, hopefully one day LECA can do that too, then rather than 23 pages of this very confusing data. So there was 6,200 complaints total. 3,700 were screened in, screened out, and only 47 were sustained. 41 were less serious, and only 6 were seriously sustained. So imagine that. So there you go, there you guys go again. 6,200 complaints, 6 were only serious, so they don't work. And again, I encourage everybody to check out another joke of an annual report from a very broken, biased, and corrupted complaint source. We're going to dive into every detail in this video and why filing complaints with LECA just straight up do not work. And you should not bother wasting your time and employing these people. LECA complaints are mainly based off of code of conduct for the police, compliance with laws, human rights and charter rights, interactions with the police, integrity and performance of duty. So, while I'm doing this video, I would, if anyone who's dealt with police, who's dealt with LECA, some police misconduct, please comment below in this video and let me know what your experience was. Share your complaints. Yeah, let's get this conversation going. Most complaints are dismissed because they are not in the public's interest, which is a load of crap. LECA's organization blew through 7.7 million on 52 employees. About 6.3 million were salaries. 1.3 million were benefits, transportation, communication services, supplies, and equipment. So basically, I'm going to put up the complaints on the screen. I was going to read them, but what I'll do is I'm going to put on the screens my actual complaints with LECA. But the issues with these three officers were this. Sergeant Leslie Legace, Aurelia OPP, witnessed Constable Gorman driving erratic and slamming on the brakes, which knocked me unconscious. No seatbelt, still hogtied, no camera. He's seen my injuries at the station. And he said to me at some point, I think it was when I got medical, when the paramedics came to pick me up, and he came back, or was one point, he said to me, "We did not do this to you." He knew I had injuries right away. This officer directed his constables to put me underneath the camera at the station. Okay. And they muted the audio. Okay. They're covering up. They are participating in aiding and abetting this major scandal. The OPP are also, they've played into this negligence. They're aiding and abetting each other. Hopefully that this scandal just goes away, and there's gonna, so I filed a complaint with OIPRD, or it was the Professional Standards Unit. They dismissed it with a 5-page report. This officer, Sergeant Leslie Legace, received a medal on February 2nd, 2018. And then he got his first bar on February 8th, 2023. Around the same time I filed this complaint. So this complaint ain't going to go through. They got to give this officer his medal. And really, a medal should represent like honor, integrity, not protecting your brothers and sisters for police misconduct and police brutality, because that's what this sergeant did. And this is what us taxpayers are paying for. This is and this is unacceptable. So I'm going to put up LECA's response. I'll even put up LECA's response, their report. I guess it was the OIPRD. And, you should see, they weaved this basket, making sure they protected this officer, just like they do in all their reports. Sergeant Linda Chamberlain of the Waterloo Region Police refused to investigate fraud, home insurance fraud over $5,000. Advised constables not to investigate. And he even told me on the phone, please do not investigate home insurance, which is a load. Please do not investigate home insurance fraud, which is a load of crap, because it is part of the criminal act. Home insurance, this is what I mean. This is the crap that they're doing. And it's unbelievable that they're getting away with this. And, she refused to enforce the law. Home insurance fraud. It's fraud over $5,000. My ex submitted this claim to Travelers Insurance, claimed I damaged blinds, a barrel, floor, a door hinge, like all this ridiculous shit. She got paid $4,000 for a stove that she claimed I damaged that was never damaged. And you know what? She got this stove for the stove that she claimed she paid $300 for. And these people over at Travelers Insurance gave her $4,000. And this sergeant, Linda Chamberlain, refuses to investigate because they're all in on it in one way or another, right? This all falls down to the family court trial, that judge, their local senior judge, their king. They cannot go against him, it seems like. And that's just a load of crap because really all these people are public servants abusing their powers. Sergeants are making what, 300 grand? Judges are making what, $600,000 that we're paying for? That they're all protecting each other. There needs to be a huge investigation, a huge shakedown in this court corruption, this police corruption. These liberals are aiding and abetting these people. They've these judges I've gone before, they all applied and liberals all appointed them. So that was another. So yeah, she got Sergeant Linda Chamberlain, got snarky with me over the phone, got lippy with me, gave me attitude. It's simply, I'm just trying to get service that the public pays for. She got snarky with me and told me to file a complaint with LECA because she knows they're in their back pocket. 6,200 complaints, 6 seriously sustained. LECA, filing complaints with LECA is a joke, honestly. And I want the public to be fully aware of these complaints do not work. Okay, and it's an absolute waste of taxpayers' money. And then we got the worst of all of them, Constable Gardner of the Halton Region Police. This officer, this officer told me he was going to get a warrant to investigate the fraud that John David Ekping committed and submitted. He never did. He got snarky and arrogant with me in the text messages. You guys seen all that? And he's the reason why Halton Region Police need to be wearing body cam. His comfortableness, his arrogance, his cockiness. He's like you look at his pay. What did he get last year? 160, 170,000. He trains constables, and this is how he's conducting himself. The public should be very aware and alert and concerned that this is how officers and sergeants are conducting themselves on our dime. So this officer, in his possession, Constable Gardner, in his possession, he had those threatening emails, the harassing emails, the stalking emails. He had the $350,000 fraudulent court costs. He knew that John David Ekping only paid $7,000 for family court. If that. Garner said, and then Garner got really stupid with me in his emails. I'll just say straight up, he got really arrogant, really cocky, and really stupid with me in his emails, saying that. See, I'm frustrated when I think about this, and I'm thinking about those emails. It frustrates me because they sit there behind a computer, behind a desk, behind a cell phone, and they get away with this shit on our dime. And then they wonder why people that have these type of interactions are upset and they're frustrated, and then they try to point the finger at us and say, oh, he's the problem. Oh, look at him. Look at the way he's behaving. Look what he's saying. No, these people that are in charge are screwing around. Everyone that I've gone before, and this officer was absolutely useless. And so was his sergeant, Ronald Starch. He goes by Ronald Starch, who told me over the phone that I only want the Halton Region Police to investigate to get out of this court order. You know how stupid that was when I heard that and how ridiculous that was? And you know what? I could see people out there being upset and frustrated and judging me. And that was absolutely stupid. And if you're going to support that, then you're part of the problem. And these group of people, these public servants, this is what they're going to do. That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard a sergeant say. When Ronald Starch of the Halton Region Police said, you only want us to investigate because you want to get out of that court cost. It doesn't matter. These were criminal acts that John David Ekping engaged in. And I'll never stop talking about it until somebody does something about it. I think this man got his lawyer's license out of a cereal box. I think this man straight up lied on his Canadian citizenship. Came over here as a refugee on a work permit, work visa. He challenged the Ontario Lawyers Bar and he passed. Are you fucking kidding me? And these police and these judges and these prosecutors in the Kitchener-Waterloo region are all supporting this lawyer because everything falls on that family court judge, their local senior judge, their endorsement. All those lies he said on that endorsement. He did. And I put it in my other videos. That court destroyed my life. That court destroyed my finances. And what, they're going to come at me more because I'm telling the truth and doing these videos? That might be a good thing. Their best bet is knocking me off or locking me up because they know they screwed up. They know they've been caught and they did it to the wrong person. And now I'm going public about all these events. I got nothing to gain to lie or mislead. All this court does, this Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse, all they did was lie, be deceitful. They engaged in criminal activity. They did not abide by the rules of family law, the civil rules, the small claims court. And the pattern just continues with this Tyrone Gardner. Like I said, this officer Tyrone Gardner just went MIA. Like he was absolutely useless. Oh, he injured his back. Yeah, he injured his back. He got insurance. He went on short-term disability through the police insurance, and then he was seen running his business skating. He's got a herniated disc and he's skating. Is that not stealing from insurance? I know you're being careful and sometimes they suggest that. I don't care. The way this officer refused to do his job. This officer refused to do his duty that he's sworn to uphold the law. He is turning a blind eye to the law. And then what do you do? What does LECA do? That is fully aware of all this. They support this behavior. That's why the public doesn't trust LECA. The public doesn't trust our justice system. It's because of officers like these ones I dealt with and LECA, this complaint service. So yeah, why are we continuing to pay these officers like hundreds of thousands of dollars every year when they refuse to do their job and refuse to do their duty that they were sworn to uphold? LECA's 2024-2025 annual report confirms filing complaints with them do not work. 51 or 52 confusing pages. You guys can go see it yourself on their website there. Out of 6,200 complaints, only 6 were deemed sustained seriously. 52 full-time employees blew through almost $8 million overhead, employees, and expenses. Stephen Leach, complaints director, earned almost $225,000 in 2024. Page 25 of the report follows with 23 pages of confusing breakdown of how LECA dismissed almost 99% of their complaints. Unlike the Canadian Judicial Council, who straight up dismissed almost 1,200 complaints in 2024 in half a page, LECA had to confuse people with these 23 pages. Like the Law Society of Ontario, they also had a long and confusing 86-page annual report and admitted out of 386 complaints, the complaints commissioner, what's her name? Victoria Torrance, who I dealt with twice, so I'll be diving into a whole video. I've got a recorded conversation with her. What she's doing over there is just as much crap as what LECA's doing. This woman, like everyone else, is protecting Ekping Young. The Law Society, protecting Ekping Young. These prosecutors, protecting Ekping Young. These judges, the police, protecting Ekping Young. A man who is engaged in criminal activity. A man who is straight up committed judicial perjury. Yeah, they want to take out the hardworking taxpayer. See how stupid that move was? What these judges did to me? Letting Ekping Young do what they did to me. I was almost paying $6,000 a month tax. Okay? Some of these judges are making $6,000 a week doing this to people. Look at this. You wonder why our country's going to shits. It's because of these courts. Okay? This immigration problem, all this corruption with the liberals, and then you got these courts destroying lives. Yeah. The people who fatten their paychecks, the people who fatten their pension, they're destroying their lives because they don't give a shit. Look what happened to me. This is going to be a fucking blockbuster hit movie. It's going to be. I can already see. I just can't believe how ignorant and stupid and comfortable some of these people are that I've talked about. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. You can judge me all you want. You can try to pin my attitude with other attitudes. No. This day today is December 19th, 2025. This has been going on for 3 years. It's been going on longer. Wait till I dive into the video of 2015 in Milton Court, where a judge embarrassed me. A judge embarrassed me and said, "Hey, wasn't your mother murdered?" And I remember thinking, what the fuck does that have to do with it? My lawyer was Scott Arid, that bozo. The guy took my money. He sent me a text message at the end of that and said, "Never call me again. I'll be charged for harassing." My old lawyer, Brendan Neal, was sitting in the back watching. Who's that crown attorney? Omar Kushnu or something? He was there. And then they had two big Halton Region police officers, like freaking 7 feet tall. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? They set me up that day. 3 people before me. I'm going to be diving the whole video. And what that judge said to me, that cannot be found on any endorsement or any audio recordings. I had to put that video on hold because I can't believe it. Well, I know what that judge said to me, and a lady at the end of that proceeding. This was like October 2015. I've never been so humiliated in my life, other than getting dragged out of Casino Ram, a hogtied, blindfolded. What they did to me there, that was up there, but I'm very shocked, so I gotta dive into that video next, this missing audio recording, this missing transcripts of that court case. Wait till I get into that one. It's gonna be another friggin' fucking blockbuster story. So yeah, this annual report. LECA complaints, 6,216 complaints filed, 1,021 complaints carried over from the previous year, 421 complaints seen early resolutions, 2,492 complaints were screened out by complaints director. 254 of those complaints were deemed frivolous. 1,210 were deemed not in the public's interest. That's their favorite one, not in the public's interest. When it always is. Every single complaint, good or bad, is in the public's best interest. So when they sit there and lay that down, this load of crap, it's not in the public's interest, I bet you those are some of the worst ones. Because that's what they did with Gardner. Gardner was caught red-handed, refusing to do his basic duties, and gave me some bullshit response, and then had his supervisor back him up, and then had LECA back him up. Because this is what they do. It's strength in numbers. This is interesting. 226 complaints were against police chiefs, and 225 of those complaints were screened out. So one complaint made it to the next level with the police chiefs. And I wonder which police chief that was. We should find out. 90 complaints against the OPP commissioner. 89 of those complaints were screened out. I'd love to find out that one complaint that got screened in, right? But then again, when did they screen it out? I asked ChatGPT in LECA's annual report how many complaints were accepted and how many were dismissed. The answer they gave me was 1,208 screened in and 2,492 screened out for a total of 3,700. Then I asked ChatGPT, out of those 1,208 complaints that were screened in, how many were dismissed at the next stage? The answer I got was that's when ChatGPT gave me shared a detailed disposition outcome. So I guess out of those 1,208, only 537 were sent for investigations. 438 were unsustained, no misconduct, and only 47 were sustained. 41 of those were less serious sustained, and only 6 were serious sustained. If I'm reading the numbers right, there were a total of 6,216 complaints filed. After everything, 47 complaints were sustained, were considered less serious, and only 6 were considered serious. Filing complaints with LECA do not work. Filing complaints with the Canadian Judicial Council don't work. Filing complaints, I'll tell you right now, I filed 20 complaints, 15 complaints. They all got dismissed, and I'm going to dive into every video and every one of their annual reports. Okay, I'm going to read this response I got from, it's the Superintendent T. Dobbin for Chief Superintendent Chuck Wesley. Dear Mr. Dobson, a copy of the investigation report concerning your complaint against a member of the OPP is attached. The investigation determined there is insufficient evidence to support that there are reasonable grounds to believe misconduct occurred. I'm satisfied the conduct of the officer was appropriate and within the OPP policies and generally accepted police practices. The investigation report provides detailed conclusions supporting decisions. Right? So then there was a public complaint investigation report, which I'm just going to put this up on the screen. These guys, it's good because it says everything, it's very detailed. Like all of my complaint information is in this. So I'm going to put that up on the screen. Or I can even make it a separate, post. Basically the response I got back from Sergeant Linda. So yeah, she refused to investigate that home insurance fraud, which is in the public's best interest. They wrote this. I didn't even know where to start to read this crap. They dismissed everything. Like, where do I start? I'm not going to read this whole thing that they said. I'll put it up on the screen. I'm just trying to find something. Section 153, 158, 1D2 of the Community Safety Policing Act permit the complaints director not to cause a complaint to be investigated if it is not in the public's interest to do so. See what they did? Yeah, it's not in the public's interest for the public to know that this Sergeant Linda Chamberlain, getting paid $200,000 a year, $250,000 a year, couldn't do her basic duties and have her constables investigate all this obvious home insurance fraud that went on, that funded Canada's most corrupted family court case in Canadian history. And we haven't even scratched the surface on this story. We really haven't. They're all in on it. Yeah, it's not in the public's interest. What did she say? We appreciate that the actions of the officer in responding to concerns did not provide you wished the results. I can't even read this. I'm just going to put up on the screen. This sergeant was too ignorant and too comfortable and too lazy to simply investigate this home insurance claim. What did she say? The Waterloo Region Police do not investigate home insurance fraud. No, because they think it goes through the insurance bureau and then it goes to the insurance company and then it goes to the police. This is what I mean. This smoke and mirrors of filed private prosecutions and all this bullshit, they don't work. Okay? Cops are lazy. They just want to go after people who have committed assault, trespass, whatever. If they don't want to investigate, these are investigative jobs. How does this woman even become a sergeant and she can't even simply apply some minimal effort? Oh yeah, then I got that response from Lonnie Ratchford, whose real name is Lawrence. I don't know why this guy's going by nicknames. Yeah. Well, I think this was the Tyrone Garner. It's not in the public's interest. Yeah, it's not in of course it's in the public's interest. The public should know how lazy and one-sided Tyrone Gardner is. This officer said he was going to get a warrant to investigate John David Ekpington. Okay? This lawyer submitted so many $350 fucking thousand in fraudulent court costs that his client never fucking paid him for hours that were never worked, money never fucking exchanged hands. Why? Because it's gonna fucking rip open that Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse. This is exactly why, and everybody's in on it because they're trying to protect these judges. I'm telling you right now that I am surprised the Attorney General does not have a class action lawsuit against them. LECA, that like after this information, this annual report, they do not work. The taxpayers should be filing a lawsuit against LECA, who took $7.7 million and distributed it, fighting 6,200 complaints and only sustaining really 6 of them. The public should be pissed off, and it's in the public's best interest to know what LECA is doing to people and what these officers are getting away with. This is a joke, these complaints from LECA. They don't work. I'll put them all up on the screen. LECA, police, the courts, everybody should not be surprised the public is upset, especially me, especially what they did to me and the compelling evidence I have. This courthouse, this all comes down to this Kitchener-Waterloo courthouse. And what they did to me, the hard evidence I have on the criminal corruption in that courthouse, they had to label me vexatious litigant because now a lot of lawyers won't touch me. They search my name when they want to do a background check. All they do is go on LECA. And they see what these judges wrote about me. This slander, this defamation. You want to talk about slander and defamation? Yeah? A judge saying all those things? Blocking out transcripts? Deleting, altering endorsements? It's crazy. So, not to get off topic here, but these complaints with LECA don't work. It's obvious. The public should not waste their time filing complaints with LECA. Officers are cocky and arrogant, and they got LECA in their back pocket. Statistically, they got them in their back pocket. They can do what they want. Oh, go file a complaint with LECA with what they did to me. They all said it, including Sergeant Leslie Gase when it was the OIR PRD. And it was pulling teeth with the Professional Standards Bureau to try to get them to help me with this whole shit kicking I took from Constable Evan Gorman that put me in the hospital. And let's not forget, he put an 11-year-old in the hospital and got charged with assault and got off on that. People need to wake up. You cannot trust the police. Police are not your friends. All they want to do is move up in the rankings. I'm sorry. You look at this, my experience dealing with the police, dealing with LECA. Telling you, don't waste your time filing complaints with LECA. Don't waste your time calling the police. What are you going to do? Sit on the phone for 3 hours? Like wait for 2, 3, 4 hours? This whole Tyrone Garner, I think he took 2 days to finally they signed somebody. This is when Ekping Young was harassing me like crazy. He wouldn't shut the fuck up and he wouldn't stop sending me emails. He was like, I shared the email. He hired a private investigator. Seen me at a cemetery. They see me in Hamilton. Oh, I know where you're working. I haven't worked for 13 months. No. This is insane what these cops have allowed Ekping Young to get away with. And I need the public support to help get my story out. I got so many more videos to dive into. And I want to be a voice for the people. I want to be an advocate. Because, it's, I can only imagine how many people this is happening to, and they are helpless. And that is a shitty feeling to feel helpless. Because I know that feeling very well. And I want people to know that you're not alone. And you know what? I'm going to help you guys out as much as I can. But I need your guys' help too. I've got a lot of insight. I've got a fair amount of experience dealing with all these things, and I want to help people. This is bullshit. Next year, I'm going to go hit up the streets, and I'm going to go interview homeless people, and I want to find out how many people are on the streets because of court corruption. Right? These public servants that took an oath to enforce the law, abide by the rules, the code of ethics, and then they're doing this shit to people. And then they're surprised people are speaking up and speaking out. And then they want to silence us, try to take away our freedom of speech because they want to fuck around and ruin lives, and then they don't want people talking about it. Well, tough shit. People are going to talk about it, and you shouldn't be surprised. And if you are surprised, you're part of the problem, and to be honest, I'm not surprised. So let's talk about it. Let's get a conversation going. You know, this has been another video. Let's talk about it. And do filing complaints with LECA work? And the short and long answer is no. And also, too, you guys should check out Ontario Audit's video and go look at how that complaint he filed with LECA. I forgot to mention that earlier, right? He somehow made it through, and his complaint was sustained. So was his complaint part of those 41, or was it part of those 46? Or sorry, those 6. Was his serious or less serious? I'd like to really know. But you know, look, if you see that video, they what, 18 months, 2 years, it stays on his record, that officer from Halton Region, and then it gets removed, and then they're all ready for promotions and this and that, like it never happened. Filing complaints with LECA don't work. And I'd be surprised if there isn't going to be a lawsuit against LECA soon, because they took $7.7 million and dismissed 99.6% of complaints. They are protecting the officers' misconduct and breach of what is it? Conduct? Yeah, it's a breach of conduct. Their negligence. You know, this ain't right. But if you guys have stayed here up until this long, thank you guys for watching. Let's get a conversation going. And this has been another video from Let's Talk About It. And thank you guys for watching.